But I've always argued, and I continue to argue, that every time we pass a legislation that requires a funding mechanism, very often we look at it as just an innocent act of government. It's just government trying to, fix a problem we've got.
With good intent.
Very good intent. I mean, I would argue that most bureaucrats have sincere intent, and they want to do the right thing. But I think the fundamental breakdown is in, and I go back to the efficiency of money. The private sector is motivated by efficiencies. It has no other choice but to be motivated by efficiency and competency, result-oriented, and a bureaucrat is not motivated by that. No bureaucrat signs a personal guarantee. No bureaucrat fails at, a business fails, and next thing you know, you got a big mess on your hands. Government gets a program wrong, what happens? It just keeps on keeping on. It runs in perpetuity. That's kind of the way government does things. But for those that believe, and here's why I have my great disagreement with liberals, and this is philosophical and fundamental. The liberal believes that the more you entrust the government to do certain things, to address certain problems in society, the better off we'll be. It is indeed the great arbiter of moral economic justice. I believe the free market. I don't believe the free market's perfect. I talked about some of the imperfections last week and earlier this week. I think it's incredibly imperfect. But I think it's still the best judge and evaluator of what things should cost and how much people should pay for. Because every time, and I'll conclude this segment with this, every time you extract a dollar from the private sector, you infuse it into the public sector. Because rest assured, the public sector, it's not like Bree said, that there's not some lucky leprechaun showing up farting nuggets of gold. The money comes from somewhere.
So eloquent.
The money comes from somewhere. The government does not generate its own money. So the government takes money out of the private sector. It becomes a part of the public sector. It becomes less efficient by its very nature, whether Republicans are running the joint, whether Democrats are running the joint, whether Trump's running the joint, or Barack Obama's running the joint. It's inefficient. It's not an efficient allocator of capital. And for those that believe, okay, the problem in America today with all our issues is we don't have government looking after this. We don't have government looking after that. We don't have government taking care of this. That's a ludicrous thought. But because when you extract money out of the private sector, you put that money in the hands of some bureaucrat. Once again, probably taught Sunday school last Sunday. May have even drove the youth bus. He's a good guy. She's a good lady. They have honorable intent, to your remarks, Rev, but they're not motivated by what the private sector is motivated by. And it becomes inefficient, it becomes ineffective, and we fail miserably. And we always believe the answer is we didn't give them quite enough. Medicare's failing because it doesn't get quite enough money. Medicaid's failing because it doesn't get quite enough money. These other entitlement programs are failing because we don't get quite, there is no logic there. There is no reason. An honest person can't even debate that. The reason we have, hunger in America is because we don't have enough money to buy food stamps. No, the reason we have hunger in America is because we give too much money to buy too many food stamps that removes the motivation from someone providing for themselves. It's as simple as that. It's not some advanced economic theory you learn at an Ivy League institution. It's as simple as that. It removes the motivation for anybody to be more studious or persevere or productive. And I think government at its core gets this wrong. We reward incompetency and non-productivity, and we penalize competency and productivity. That's kind of the way our tax system is. You make more, what do? You pay a higher tax. You work more hours, guess what? You pay more in taxes. Mm-hmm. And that makes no sense, but that is the fundamental disagreement that I have with the liberal left. They believe that if you give more and more and more of your money to the government, that some of these issues we have in society and culture and our economy can be addressed. And I believe the more money you give to the government, the worse the issues are. The bigger the problems get, the less efficient the financial rewards are. And I think history shows us that. And I think when you hear Bernie Sanders saying, health care should be a right and everybody should be entitled to it, I think Bernie's sincere. I think in his heart of hearts, he believes that. But then you say, Bernie, how are we going to pay for that? Where's the 32 where's the $32.6 trillion it's going to take to put government in charge of everybody's health care? Well, you tax the rich. What are you doing, Rev? You're taxing productivity. And that is a ridiculous concept that is, over a period of time, we'll find it doesn't work. I think we're finding that now. I think entitlements are fine when they're the safety net. I believe that. I think you would agree to that. I think most Republicans believe there needs to be some safety net in place. But to my point, the safety net has quickly become a safety hammock. And guess what people do in hammocks? They stand up and work in them. No, they lay down in them. They lay down in them and do nothing. And we've created an entitlement system that allows for people to be rewarded for doing nothing. That makes no sense.